Stephen, thanks for joining us. Let's kick off with some of the key trends that you're seeing in asset and wealth management today, and how do you see these developing in the next 5 to 10 years?
Absolutely. Well, let me start by saying, Kingsley, it's great to be with you, and thank you very much for the opportunity to share some thoughts over the next half an hour or so. So I think this is a time of a lot of change across the wealth and asset management industry. You know, if I think about the wealth industry globally, but particularly here in EMEA, there are a number of trends that we're seeing that in many respects were, I think, accelerated by the experience of the last 2-3 years with COVID and everything that's happened over the last kind of 12 months as well. One of those trends is that we are seeing this ongoing shift from what we would call kind of products to portfolios. And what we mean by that is a real focus by wealth managers on how do you build these portfolios of the future? How do you ensure that your clients have portfolios that can withstand inflation, et cetera, and if you're in many parts of the world, not everywhere, where cash rates have been zero or even negative for quite a long time, and I can say that here in the UK, or if I look across much of Europe, you're now starting to have to think about how do you have portfolios that can deal with the reality that, you know, cash offers you a positive return. I know that may sound strange in some parts of the world, but for many of our clients here in Europe, that has not been the case for the last kind of 7 to 8 years. So we're seeing this kind of centralization of what we would call CIOs and this building of capabilities to really develop these portfolios and manage these portfolios. We're also seeing a shift in business model. So led by the US, we're seeing this move towards what is called fee-based advisory, which means the ability to manage a portfolio on behalf of a client, charge a fee for that portfolio rather than necessarily collect retrocessions. Again, that varies across the world depending on regulation in many respects. We're seeing a huge rise in digital. I think the big driver of what happened with COVID, or COVID was the catalyst for this acceleration in digital wealth. And digital wealth is coming in many forms. We're seeing new entrants coming into the market with new technology. We're seeing traditional banks now starting to respond to that by building their own digital interfaces to engage with clients. And we're seeing the overall adoption of technology across the whole of wealth management. And one area that we've seen a lot of that is upgrading of risk management, but also utilizing tools that allow you to manage your business, manage working with your advisors, ensuring that what they are doing is suitable, so you're meeting those regulations, but also scaling the business. I think scaling wealth management has become a big part of the trends over the last kind of 2 to 3 years. And within that, I think that when we look forward, and I think, again, look to the US as a good example of this, we're seeing more focus on personalization. How do you create portfolios that are very personal, that reflect people's values, particularly as you think about generational change? Here in Europe, how do you make sure that you're reflecting demands and desires for sustainability, which can come in many forms? And then finally, I would say that we're seeing, and we're having lots of conversations across the world, and particularly here in EMEA, about the role that wealth managers want to play and some of the functions that they traditionally done that potentially they're looking for a partner for. So this kind of concept of outsourcing non-core activities. And I think that lends itself to kind of what does that all mean for asset managers? And I think for asset managers, the big change is that from, you know, as our clients change, we have to change. And many wealth managers are looking for more from a fewer set of wealth asset managers who can bring a blend of investment management, can bring technology, ETFs, private markets, etc., in a way that helps wealth managers really grow the business over the kind of the next phase. So huge time of change, but also a lot of opportunity, I think, ahead for both the wealth and the asset management industry.